What's up, guys? We're bringing you a video today of me getting into a BG late. I was not gonna record this one, but it's been happening to me all night. I don't know what the deal is with Blizzard right now, but I've gotten into this is my fifth BG I've gotten into, and each one this is actually the earliest into a game I've been, because it looks like it just started. But the other other four that I got into had all been like halfway through or even further along. About to get jumped by a what is that? What is that? What is that? Is that a monk? Is that a rogue? It's hard to tell because he's just kind of It's a monk. It's a monkey monk. I can tell because he took my weapons away from me. I do not like when people take my weapons. But today is New Year's Eve. Or you might be watching this on New Year's. I'm not too sure when you'll be watching this. It's going to be definitely around New Year's-ish. So I wanted to record a video trying to basically just talk about how my year was and what I'm looking forward to. And just kind of go over like how my life has changed in the past year. So I thought I'd talk about how like the year started, how the year ended, and kind of it's definitely this year has been good for me. It's been good and bad, but I think definitely better. Why is that guy all shiny? What is going on here? What is this? What is this thing? Why was he like that? That was fucking weird. Anyway, so at the start of the year, I got a fucking car on me. Start of the year, I got a new job. When I got my new job at the start of the year, it was something that I did not want to do in any way. It was a butchering job. It's called a butcher's apprenticeship. And it was for a company that I will not name because I'm probably about to talk some mad shit about them. I got this job and I took the job simply because I needed the job and there was none. I had spent a long time without a job. I actually had one right before I got it, and I left that one, which I didn't even mind that much. It was just a job working in a grocery store. And I left that one to go to this butcher's apprenticeship because back then, like this is only a year ago, but I was so much younger than I was now. I've done a lot of maturing from the start of the year to the end of the year. And at the start of the year, it was still in my head that I needed to be someone who I wasn't. I needed to be the guy who goes out, does this thing, becomes this butcher for some reason, even though it's not what I want to do. I need to get this qualification for no fucking reason, even though I'm not going to use it the rest of my life because I hate what I'm doing. I felt like that's just what a kid my age did. You know, he just goes and gets a qualification. And so I did. I went. The first day. I still remember the first day of this very, very clear in my mind because I went. And I remember my mother called me halfway through my like induction to the workplace, and the induction was still like a almost like an interview slash induction. Like I kind of knew I was gonna get the job because my mother knew the manager, but I still had to go through the motions kind of thing. So my mother called me to ask how it was going and if I liked it. And I told her right there and then, after being in the store for about an hour, I told her that it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was like, this is, like, I pretty much said this is the opposite of what I want to do. This is nothing to do with anything that I ever want to do in the rest of my life. And my mother kind of said, you know, she does the typical mother thing of like, I'll support whatever you do, but then she also layers on top of that, but you really should do this. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll support you if you don't want to do it, but you should. You know how they basically tell you something but mean something else. That's pretty much what she did. So I stuck with it. I fucking just did it anyway, and then commenced probably about how long was that? Like 4 or 5 months of the worst fucking period of my life, doing this butcher's apprenticeship, which I hated. Basically, I had managers that sucked. They didn't help. I was managed by 2 women. And I'm mentioning that just simply because I was the only dude that worked there. So I didn't really have anyone to relate to. But not only did I work with 2 women, I worked with 2 bitches. Now, I'm not trying to offend you if you're a woman, but you'll understand what I mean in a second here. The manager herself was nice to me when she was by herself, but she was this kind of big butch, she's a big butch lesbian chick. And whenever there was multiple people around, she felt like she needed to be tough. So she would often, she would often, punch me in the arm and be all rough and shit, which I didn't really care that much. But it got extra fucking weird and worse when there was multiple people in the fucking store. And her and the 2IC, another young girl, hated each other. The 2IC was is it a homophobe? Hates gay people? She was just a straight homophobe and a racist. And she would actively talk about hating black people and hating lesbian, hating gay people, never understanding it. She would often fight with the manager, and it got fucking ugly a few times in there. Like I thought fists were about to get thrown down. And it was just a terrible place to work, just like a violent, fucking putrid, shitty place to work. And that was just the people. That was just the people. The job itself sucked. Mainly because it was supposed to be a butcher's apprenticeship, and all I did was pack the back fridge, which wasn't that bad. I actually liked doing that simply because I wouldn't have to put up with their shit and I wouldn't have to serve customers. But 90% of the job was me filling the window and serving customers. And where I live, it seems like the majority of the people here are assholes. So 90% of the time was me serving people and also getting treated like shit because no one even had manners. Like it's super weird that when you're serving people, it seems like the 90% of people are just cunts. I like immediately I knew this job wasn't for me, but I stuck it out for 6 months. I even went to TAFE. I spent like 600 bucks on knives, fucking textbooks, all this kind of shit. And then it finally got to a point where I was just went to work one day out of the blue. I didn't go out of the blue, obviously I was rostered on. And I was like, this is shit. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I pretty much knew, like, every day I went to work, I was like, dude, it's just one day, you're gonna quit eventually, don't worry about it, just get through today. And that's how I got through it. And then I realized, what am I talking about? I'm talking about I'm going to quit. Why am I not just fucking quitting? So eventually I just quit. I literally went in, I picked up my knives because they're my fucking knives, I'm gonna keep them. I walked out of the fucking store and I just never went back. I got called that day by like my TAFE guy, and he's like, your manager's called me and said that you have just left. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back anymore. He's like, oh, you want to quit? The actual TAFE dude wasn't that bad. He's just like, you don't want to work there anymore? I'm like, nah, it's fucking horseshit, man. And I think he kind of knew. Like, he kind of knew that, like, the people I worked for were shit. Because he was just straight up like, alright, man, yeah, this happens a lot, blah, 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 blah. We'll just send you some forms, and then you'll get, like, the certificate, like, the incomplete certificate that says you have, like, only the certain things already completed the TAFE, qualified, and shit like that. I think the only thing I ever got qualified doing was, like, filleting a steak or some shit like that. Because for some reason you do like the expensive stuff first, and like sharpening knives. That's the only thing I was technically qualified in because they never taught me anything. That's another thing that pissed me off, is I was never actually gaining any kind of qualification. Even though like I would go to TAFE and everyone at TAFE would know shit, and I would know nothing because the people I worked with were too busy fighting with each other to actually fucking teach me anything. And that's the end of the BG. But I'm gonna continue this into another BG. So I'm gonna end my conversation there. But this video is gonna be two BGs long. So be back in a sec, guys. So what I just finished saying was basically I hated the butcher job and I quit. I quit, took my shit, left. The TAFE guy was super awesome, even though like I was quitting. On a side note, I got a bill from that TAFE place a year, not a year. Well, actually, it hasn't been a year yet. 6 months after I quit, they sent me a bill for 600 bucks. And after they sent me that bill, I was like, I rang them. I'm like, hey, I didn't actually do this. And they're like, oh, we just send them out anyway. Just ignore it. I'm like, what the fuck? It's the most random, stupid shit. Like, we just send out this $500 bill anyway, just in case you want to pay us. Don't worry about it if you don't. Like, we know you didn't do it. It's like, what the fuck, man? Anyway, so that was the first part of my year. The first part of 2013 for me was terrible. I hated it. I didn't get anything from it either. You know when like you have these bad experiences, you try and think like, well, at least I got this, or at least I experienced this. The thing is, I had already experienced like customer service. I already experienced what it was like. I already learned what it was all about from my job I had previous that I had worked at for like a year. So then when I went to this, it was just worse than that, which it didn't really teach me anything except like what I already knew, which was people can be cunts. So I quit. I was so happy the day I quit. And I quit with the intentions of joining the army. So immediately I started working out like crazy. I got fitter than I've ever been in my entire life. I lost a lot of weight. I was running 3Ks every other day. In between those days, I was lifting weights. I was doing shit that like I never knew I could do. Like I was never a fit kid. So I always just assumed that this is just who I was this non-fit guy that didn't really, I wasn't an athletic guy. Well, I was when I was super young when I played soccer, but once I broke my foot, I completely went the other way, where I was never like super fat, but I was never like athletic ever again. And I got back into shape, man. I got back into fucking shape for the army. And I applied myself to that like I've never applied myself to anything before that point. That was the first time in my life I gave my 100, like it's sad to say, but it was the first time in my life I put 100% effort into something, and that was joining the army. I researched the army, I did all the processes 100% correctly, I talked to them, I researched everything, I did everything 100% right, I got fit, I was perfect, I was a soldier-worthy motherfucker. And then the army process is to do a U session, which is basically you just go down and show that you're interested. and they say, all right, you are definitely interested. You showed up. That's kind of like the first. They try and like weed out people at every stage. So they go, all right, you're interested. You're here. This is your next date. In between this date and that date, this is what you need to do. You need to get fit. You need to work out. I'm like, I'm already doing this shit. So I do it all. That's like a month later. The month later, you go to that thing. That thing is basically where you do like this test, this intelligence test. I do the intelligence test, and they do like an eyesight test on you and all that kind of stuff. It's not a full medical, it's just eyes and then intelligence. The intelligence test, I smash it. I can do all the jobs that I wanted to do. I have the pick of the litter of what I wanted to do, and obviously the ones that I don't want to do are still available as well. So I smash that, but then I do the eye test. When I do the eye test, they tell me that I'm severely colorblind. Now, I knew I was colorblind. I didn't know I was severely colorblind. Basically, what it means is the test, they test whether you can see the difference between green, red, and white is the three they do. So basically, there's a little machine that has two little dots on it. And each time this chick presses the button, the dots change color. And all you have to do is say, you know, green, white, green, red, red, green. You just have to do that. I failed that test. I couldn't actually say what the colors were in those little dots. I'm not gonna get into colorblindness right now because it's too confusing to fucking talk to you guys about. But that's basically what I did. I failed that, and so that immediately took away 99% of the jobs I could have done. For some reason in the army, to do anything, you would need to be physically perfect in every way, in literally every way. So the colorblindness immediately took out literally 99% of the jobs I could have done. And it sucked, man. It sucked so fucking bad because I just spent all this time getting ready to be like, all I wanted to do was like be a diesel mechanic or something, or work on these big trucks, or even just be a driver. Like that was my backup plan. Was, man, I'll just be a driver in the army. I don't even care. I just want to get in the army. I want to be fit. I want to have a fit lifestyle. That's all I wanted to do. I was so set on it as well. I was so set on it. And then that falls through immediately. And there's only like two options. No, there was three options. Sorry. One option was to be basically just a store worker, which is like you go into a warehouse and you organize warehouses for the army. Nothing, absolutely the worst possible thing I would ever pick or to do. Like I didn't want to do that at all. Or to be a field medic, which is more like, it sounds more amazing than it is. The field medic doesn't actually do that much. You just kind of like go out. Wow, I just got fucking launched. Did you see that? What the fuck just happened? That was weird. So basically you just go out as a field medic and be with people in case they injure themselves, wherever they go. So say these people need to go help fight a fire. A field medic goes with them just in case someone gets burned. You never, like, it's a lot of faffing about, and you don't actually ever do much work. I actually chose that because I was like, if nothing, at least I'll have some time to chill and play video games. That was my thought process. Here's all these shit options. Another option, sorry, was to be a desk clerk. Like the people that when you call up the army, that's who you talk to, was like to be one of those. Which obviously I didn't want to do. So I chose the field medic. Because literally my thought process was, well, at least when I'm not doing much, I'll be able to play some video games. So I study it. I study it fucking hard. Again, I'm still applying myself 100% to this. And because I was so invested, there's no looking back. You know, there's no looking back for me. I apply myself more and more and more. I finally get to the date where it's like you have to go down and they actually interview you for the job and they do your medical. And then they do my medical. They do my medical and they find out that my blood pressure is extremely high for my age. By extremely high, I mean like they requested that I go to the hospital high. Like that's how high my blood pressure was. It was that high apparently because I was nervous, but it was still unnaturally high for my age group. So I went to my actual doctor, which by the way, it still has not been figured out why I have high blood pressure. I went to my doctor and probably about 7 different visits, and each time was for a different test that didn't come up with anything, and it eventually just started costing me too much money. I was going to the doctor each week, spending like $100 to see the fucking doctor, and like getting a different test, which also cost money, and each test came back with no fucking reasons why I have high blood pressure. And after the 7th one of those, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this anymore because I'm literally just like spending $100 a week at the doctors for no reason. This is not actually doing anything, so I just stopped going. I know I should keep going until they find what's wrong with me, but I don't have the money. I don't have $100 a week just to spend on a fucking doctor's visit for no fucking reason. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, pretty much immediately right there, your blood pressure is too high. The army, it's completely out of the question. If you have like the eyesight is one thing. But if you have something like that that's wrong with you, the army is there's nothing that'll even get you remotely in. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. If there's a little physical thing that's wrong with you, it's all over, buddy. It is all fucking over. They literally couldn't care less. So immediately, all that hard work I put in, everything I just did, it completely gets foiled by the fact that my blood pressure's high. And it crushed me, man. I'm not gonna lie. When that happened, I was so fucking crushed, and it sucked. It really sucked. But I picked myself up and I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna start. I had already made this YouTube channel. I made this YouTube channel about a year ago, like before all this shit happened. So 2 years ago from now, I fucking made that shit. Because I wanted to do it, but I never had time. I was always trying to do other shit. And I finally, like, I'm going to do it, man. I'm just going to start making vids. And I'll just fucking do it. Like, who cares? Like, what do you have to lose now? Like, you're already fucked. Who cares? Just make the YouTube channel. Who knows what can happen? And I made it. And I started sinking endless amounts of time into this thing. I just fucking, again, applied myself entirely to this fucking YouTube thing. It did not to start. I have to admit, it wasn't to start. To start off with, it was just, I was kind of like this is gonna go nowhere. That's literally what I thought. This thing is gonna go nowhere. I'll just fucking make a few vids that'll never get any views, and that'll be the end of it. And that actually is what happened. It is what happened for the first probably month, maybe 2 months of me having a YouTube channel, and then I made my first PvP vid, which is just me talking like this. I made my first vid where it's just me chilling out. And people fucking grasped onto it. They liked it. It got more views than any of my other videos. And I just started making them. And everyone fucking loved them. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I went from having to do, like, put all this endless amounts of effort into it, just to me editing my video. I still do put endless amounts of effort into it. But it's just me talking. It's just me having a good time. And, which is fantastic. I mean, obviously the editing and stuff is still fucking shitty, but I don't care because what I'm doing is just having a fucking awesome time and enjoying my fucking time with you guys. And that went from being a small thing into something that's just continuously growing. And not only is it continuously growing, I can see it becoming my job. I can see it becoming my career, you know, is in YouTube and in making WoW videos. And that's how the year is ending. The year is ending with, like, promises of just even a better year. Like, I started this video by saying this year was good, but I came to the realization that at the start of the year, and even like 3/4 of the way through this year, it was shit. But the last bit of this year has made it all worth it, simply because of YouTube and because of you guys. I make so many videos now thanking you guys, but I honestly, like, it's so weird to me to think that I forgot. I literally forgot about all the shit I went through. I literally forgot about the army fucking me over, about just being unhealthy for no fucking reason apparently, and for doing 6 months of the worst job I've ever experienced in my life. I forgot about all that. Simply because I started YouTube and simply because of you guys. It's fucking amazing. I love you guys for it. I want to thank you again. And I want you guys to have a good life, have a good day, have a good year. And hopefully have a fantastic year. And hopefully I make your year a little bit better with these videos and making you laugh and making you have a good time. So thanks, guys. Honestly, thank you so much for watching my videos. And have a good day, have a good life, have a good year. Really have a good year, guys. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next video. See you later. Oh, no, Pypo. Pypo, don't do it. Come to your senses, Pypo, now. Ah! Bless them.